live.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Tina Jessee with Good Sound Audiology. I would like to welcome you to our Good Sound Happy Hour. Today we have some fabulous guests from the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. This is Sherri Collins. This is Michele Michaels, and we're very grateful that they jaunted out to Mesa today to join us. And I'm happy you're able to join us from your own home. So I hope you have a glass of wine, a glass of water, a Diet Coke, whatever it is you enjoy, and we'll make it a Good Sound Happy Hour. And today we're going to talk a little bit about, obviously I'll talk about our wine for the month, and then we're also going to talk about the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. A lot of you joining us may know about this, but I will tell you, my first-time patients who come in my door, they know nothing. So this is going to be a great resource. I mean, I'm gonna catalog this, and this is going to be a great resource for all of my future patients because it kind of does the work for me. I'm here to learn some information too about what you guys provide for all of the residents of Arizona who have hearing loss or are deaf or hearing impaired. So I know there's some great services we're going to talk about today. Again, I'm Dr. Tina Jessee with Good Sound Audiology, and thank you for joining us for our Good Sound Happy Hour. We're actually taping out of Mesa today, but we have 3 locations. We have one in Gilbert, one in Sun Lakes, and we're here in Mesa. So I know you guys are kind of joining us from all over the country, I think mostly Arizona people, but again, thank you for giving us your 30 minutes. I will ask that you share this event with your friends and your family because I think it's going to be really great information for you. So again, our guests are Sherri Collins and Michele Michaels. Before we get started, guys, let me talk about the wine. I've had one of their wines before on our show. This is a nice rosé. It's a Pinot Noir rosé. It is, I'm biased. It's one of my Oregon wines from a vineyard called Winter's Hill. I have to put that so our viewers can see it. I can speak very highly to this vineyard. They do not make a bad wine. They really don't. First of all, it's a beautiful vineyard in Dundee Hills, and if you like Pinot Noirs, Rosé, or a Pinot Gris, and the Pinot Gris are really nice in the heat, so which is perfect for about 4 months here. So yeah, just a really nice. You were saying, Sherri, that you like red more than white. For my people who don't like white wine, the Pinot Gris is a really easy white. Yeah. Like if you don't love white wine, do a Pinot Gris because you probably won't hate it. Right. Yeah. So this is a really nice rosé that I am having today. And then we have some lemonade and some Diet Coke.
We're working.
You're working. Yes, they're on the clock, so they're behaving. But I'm trying to get a wine write-off, so we're going to talk about hearing and wine. So welcome, ladies. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for driving out here.
Thank you.
I've known both of you for quite a while. Actually, Michele, you and I have met at some events, and then now, thanks to Facebook, I feel like I know you well.
Yeah.
Sherri, you and I have known each other for a longer time now.
Yeah. I think about 20 years young.
Yeah, we were a little bit younger. So Sherri is the, what is your title, the director?
I'm the executive director.
Executive director, chief. Big wig, you know, for the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. And Michele, what is your title?
I'm the hard of hearing specialist for the state at the Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing.
Okay, so in my practice, is this blocking anything, Iman, if I set it over here?
It's okay.
It's okay, wonderful. So with my practice, I see obviously mostly hearing impaired people, probably 99% of my practice. It's hearing impaired, so I refer, I know, for the services. I probably would utilize you. You and I don't have reason to see each other much anymore.
I'd like to deal with politics, the legislators, then you probably want to talk to me.
Yes. So tell me a little bit, you just kind of mentioned briefly, what is your role with the commission?
Well, I've been the executive director for just recently celebrating my 19 years.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I knew it had been
19 years. I remember you had just moved here not too long ago.
Yes.
You met my husband at that time.
Yes.
When both of us, saw you back then. And I do just about everything in Arizona. Basically, my role is policy system change. I mean, that's what I go after. Anything that I can do to change policy to better serve our population in Arizona, or system change. What I mean by system change, it could be having access to services, it could be mental health services, or vocational rehab, or anything that requires access. And it could be venue. You want to go to a concert, but it's not accessible. I know Michele and I have filed several complaints against venues that are not accessible for the hard of hearing population because of the hearing aid with the assistive listening device, and they don't have the proper devices, or it's not working, or
Right.
not operating, or they just don't have it. So we go after the I call it opportunities.
Right, that's a very good way to put it. It is an opportunity,
Yeah,
yes.
and so, we don't like to be the enemy, but we like to try to resolve the issue. If not, then we, try to address that, whatever the best avenue. So that's really mainly what we try to do, is just to remove access barriers for our community with the hearing loss.
Okay, and so again, it is anyone, and you do need to be a resident for the state of Arizona. I mean, obviously, if you're changing policy at the,
Well, it could be
at the football field,
Right.
you don't have to be a resident.
No.
Right.
I mean, it could be for, we have a lot of, visitors or winter visitors,
Yes.
and Arizona is the popular state for vacation. So we want to make sure Arizona is a pleasant place to
Right.
visit. If you have a hearing loss,
Yes.
you should have access to go to a football game. You should have access to go to a concert, just like the rest of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's good, wonderful. So if I said to you, what is the commission? What's your answer? What is it?
We are the one word, a clearinghouse to go to agencies for the state of Arizona for information on hearing loss, from parents from 0 birth to senior citizens.
So all ages.
All ages.
If you
we
had-
are the go-to person.
And even, I'm curious, so again, most of my population would be considered the hearing impaired. Even more so, most of my population is the later deafened adults.
Right.
They've acquired hearing loss.
Right.
And that's kind of my passion, although we definitely have pediatric patients and newborn babies that we screen for hearing and so forth. If it's a newborn baby and there's a hearing loss, could people reach out to the commission?
Yeah.
Any age?
Yeah, at any age. We have a lot, often we get phone calls from families, just like, I just discovered my child has a hearing loss. What are other resources other than they know they meet their doctor once they're officially identified with a hearing loss, and hopefully they're getting early intervention with Arizona School for the Deaf and Blind. But we're a resource making sure that the parents know, we link them to other resources for the children, and what are the technology available, and that's something that we often, not you, Dr. Jessee, but a lot of professionals don't spend enough time talking about, you have a hearing loss, oh, that's just a horrible story, but that's not true.
Right.
And there's lots of solutions, a lot of other avenues that you can benefit or use with the hearing loss. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You can have a perfect normal life.
Of course. Yes, that's the plan.
Right.
That's the plan. And I'm probably guilty of not, we can always do better. That's really the bottom line. I can always do better, spending more time, and probably utilizing you guys more often, which was part of the reason I was so excited to have you here. I have a patient who may be watching right now, and she contacted me a month ago. I think I reached out to you, Michele, because I'm like, I already knew to tell her about CART services, which we'll talk about, but sadly, I didn't know you could do that remotely.
Yeah.
So I actually reached out to you, and I was pleased that you had the same answer I did, but you said, hey, it can be done remotely. So I was able to give my patient that resource.
Yeah.
And I actually said, I was confused a month ago. I said, they're going to be on my event. This was in May. Like next week. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a month ahead of time. So I actually reached out to her this week and said, they're going to be here on Wednesday. So again, we're very excited to have you here. For those of you just joining us, this is Sherri Collins and Michele Michaels from the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. I'm Dr. Tina Jessee with Good Sound Audiology, and we are just talking today. There is a commission, which I think my take is essentially it's to help provide resources, increase awareness, as Sherri was just mentioning, perhaps work with some legislation, effect change to better serve any of my patients, but anyone in Arizona who has from a mild hearing loss, is that correct?
Right.
All the way to profound hearing
Yes,
loss.
indeed.
Yes, so this is what I say to my patients, like, we'll talk about this. I utilize you most, obviously, for, do you know the answer?
The phone program.
The phone program, exactly.
Free phones.
Yes, so, and I know I utilize you for that, but I really should know more about what you do. I used to actually be a commissioner, so I know somewhat, but I'm sure I could do better and work a little harder of making sure that my patients know that you guys really offer a really invaluable resource for them, especially my patients who are really struggling and they need these resources. So Michele, tell me a little bit about the phone program.
So the telephone program that we have is a free telephone program. If you're an Arizona resident and you're here legally in the United States and you need a telephone to use at home, whether it's an amplified phone or a caption phone or maybe a special Quattro device that will hook with your smartphone, we can provide that to you free of charge, regardless of income. That's one of our programs that we have.
And so tell me a little bit about the application process.
So the application process is you have an application, have Dr. Jessee sign off on it saying, yes, you do have hearing loss. You sign another form that says, I'll treat the equipment with respect and won't throw it against the wall, that kind of thing. And then a couple pieces of paperwork, like maybe a copy of your driver's license or your passport or a copy of that that shows, yes, your name matches what you're saying it is, so we know that you're here legally. So a couple more pieces of paper, and that's all it is, that you fill out your paperwork, send it in. You can do it online, send it in email, and scan copies if you want, so you can do it all via email. You send it in to either Vicki or Christine. They work in our phone program. That's all those girls do. Send it in to them.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So if I give this, it's the same application I sign off, right? Because I keep those in every office. My staff knows to grab them. I sign off on that. If I'm going to have them, and we could probably fax it over too, right, or email it?
Yeah, sure.
Would we want to send it to Attention Vicki or what's the other name?
The fax number on there goes right to their little office.
So I don't need a name?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, because I thought, I thought it'll facilitate things quicker if I had a name. So we don't need that name.
We're a small office. We're only 15.
Okay, well that's...
We're not 100.
Well,
That's not too small.
16, yeah.
That's not too small.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I tell my patients, I always say to them, and I hope this is correct, I said there may be a little bit of red tape, but it really is free. There's no gimmick.
Yeah.
It's completely free. You can get a fabulous phone. And tell me a little bit about how you choose, how do they know which phone to get?
Right, so Vicki and Christine will talk with the person on the phone or meet with them in face-to-face, or if they're a homebound adult,
Okay?
they can actually go to their home and meet with them. And so through talking with them, they'll be able to determine, an amplified phone, let's test this. Do you hear okay on that? That's what you need. Or, yeah, you're not even hearing with the amplified phone. Let's go ahead and try the caption phone. So they kind of help the client figure out exactly what is best for them.
Now, my understanding with the caption phone is the one requirement, you can tell me if this is still true, is you have to have internet access. Is that correct?
The caption phone that comes from our office only goes through their landline, so it doesn't go through the internet.
Okay.
There are internet caption phones, and Vicki and Christine will connect the client to those companies.
Okay.
So,
If I can chime in to clarify, there are two different technologies. Landline is what we have. We prefer people to use the internet, the high-speed internet, which is internet protocol, captain telephone, which you could get directly from the company.
Right, and
That's the best route to go. If you have internet, high-speed internet, that's the best way to go, because you're going to get, your captioning is going to show up faster and quicker than our phone in our office because it's connected to the landline.
Okay, so that was my question, because in fact one of our guests is going to be the captioning phone people. They're going to come on.
Yeah,
good.
So they will be coming out in a month or two, actually a few months. So One thing I wasn't sure about was what would the advantage of that be. Now I do have a question. Is there an advantage to the landline caption phone that I don't know about?
Well, it's all about the individual's finance. Can they afford high-speed internet?
Okay.
And they use just regular landline for telephone, so they have access to 911. You know, they might keep their phones. You know, I know more and more people are going to wireless, but there are many people in Arizona keeping landline. I'm one of those people.
Right. You still have your landline?
Yes,
You
I
do.
Because of the caption telephone
Okay,
and my
okay.
computer, because I want that. I have a high-speed internet.
Okay.
And so I have that, plus, you know, for other reasons. But I mean, I'll be very honest. I would, if a person has a high-speed internet, I would go the other direction. Go with the high-speed caption phone than the landline.
And I can obviously provide, you know, that information to my patients as well. Sure. We do have a question.
Oh, good. Oh.
It wasn't a question, it was actually a shout out. Durant actually just said, getting on a plane, you guys rock. And then we have another comment that says, amazing services. I love that they will even come out to your home to help you.
Okay, wonderful. So I don't know if you could hear those comments. One was just, actually Durant, who will be one of our guests next month, was just giving us a shout out saying that we're fabulous and we're doing a great job. Thank you, Durant. And then another comment was made that they think the commission is fabulous because one of the really nice services, I did not know that, for example, that you will actually go into my patient's home and help them figure out, do you do the installation, like plug it in?
Right. To help them to get it set up.
All right, so to get it set up, and there's no charge for that.
No charge.
And I've told my patients in the past, all you have to do is show that you're an Arizona resident, and it's good to go.
Yeah.
So one other question regarding the phones, what is the timeline? From the time that you get the application, how long does it take to get that phone in their home?
Well, if the application is complete, Vicki, Christine have both, everything they need, a few weeks turnaround time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very fast. We do the paperwork, one of the bosses signs off, because what they do is they generate what's called a voucher,
Okay.
which is money.
Okay.
And then we send that to the patient, your client, and they can take that voucher to any of the offices that distribute equipment, or send it out to one of the companies in the country and then they ship the equipment. So
Wonderful. Wonderful.
It's a few weeks.
So for those of you who are sharing this, and I hope you will share this with your friends and family, I want you to know this really is a service that's free for you at any time. So if I neglect to mention this to you during our follow-up hearing aid, evaluations, fittings, checks, and you're starting to struggle on the phone, I have these applications in my office. I'm very happy to give them to you. So please reach out to me or my staff if this is something you're interested in, because it really is free. And it's hard to find free things. And they're great phones, right?
Yes.
So if they got a phone that didn't work, will you guys try to find something else? I mean, as far as it didn't give them enough, let's say, enough amplification.
Yeah, if it's not doing what we need it to do, then we'll switch it into a different phone, maybe a higher amplified phone, or the caption phone. And if the phone itself breaks, for some reason, there's a warranty on it, so easily exchange.
Wonderful. And then just to clarify, my patients always say, well, what about my husband? Can he still use the phone if he has normal hearing?
Right. An amplified phone, sure, you can press the button to turn off the amplification.
Right.
Or with a caption phone, press the button to turn off the captions.
Okay.
And he can use it.
And that's usually what I say to them. So you can get this great amplified telephone. Everyone else in your house can still use it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yes. So again, just for those of you joining us, I'm Dr. Tina Jessee with Good Sound Audiology. Thank you for joining our Good Sound Happy Hour. Cheers. We are welcoming today Sherri Collins and Michele Michaels with the Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. And they're actually giving us great information about services that you can receive in the state of Arizona. I was curious about how can we, if let's go back to the phone situation. They have this paperwork. One of the biggest issues my patients have, they don't do well on the phone. They don't want to talk on the phone. It causes them a great deal of stress. They don't hear well on the phone. They're afraid they're going to get someone who does not understand that.
Right.
What is the best way to reach you? And what is another way to reach you?
Well, you can call us, obviously. You can email.
Okay.
And Vicki and Christine both have email addresses, or you can email info@acdhh.az.gov, and that will come in, and they'll get routed to the right person.
Okay.
I mean, we're on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can
Okay.
always private message us.
So how do we find you on Facebook? Do I just plug in Arizona Commission?
Yep.
And start typing Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing?
Yeah.
And then I'll find that. And if
Yeah.
I'm a patient and I'm thinking, man, I might want to try out that phone, can I actually get to that service via Facebook?
Well, what you can do is you to get a hold of us.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You'll
We
redirect.
have a staff that is dedicated to social media. They're checking messages every day, and we
Okay.
have an info email that goes to certain people in the office, and we're attentive to those correspondence every day.
Great. Okay.
And if you go on the website, it's acdhh.org. Go on the website, there's a whole section there about the phone program.
Yes.
All the application, all the different phones, pictures of it, descriptions of it, all in there.
And also, I want to clarify, it's the same application I have, right?
Yeah.
This application is this big. It's so easy. If you know your name and your address, and you have your doctor or audiologist sign off on it, that's pretty much it. So when we say application, it's not a 10-page thing. It really is pretty easy.
Right.
Yes. So that's the phone services, and I probably could do a better job of speaking to that more often with my patients and my staff. I mean, we keep it in every office. We have it handy. But I probably don't pull it out as much as I should, so I'm going to do better.
Okay,
We'll do
great,
better.
okay.
I will do
I
better.
like it.
So I'm curious, you were talking about, well, you know what, before we go to that, I want to go back to CART services. Do you, and first of all, I want you to tell people what CART services are, because
Okay.
probably 90% of my patients don't know what that is.
So you're a hard of hearing person and you go to a conference and you can't understand what people are saying because your hearing aids are working in a small area, but the guy's 100 feet away on a stage. You can request CART services, Communication Access Real-Time Translation. Under the ADA and Section 504, those are laws, you have a right as a hard of hearing person, you have a disability, and so you have a right to request accommodation. So you can request that, and what that is these are women and men who were trained as court reporters. They use stenographer machines. And so the steno machine, they use that, they write everything they hear and can display it for you. So you can actually read, like captions on your TV, you can read it. Captions on your phone, you're reading what's happening. So you can have that at a conference, you can have that at an appointment, you can request those accommodations. So it's CART, C-A-R-T, Communication Access Real-Time Translation. And if you want to know who the CART providers are in Arizona, I can hook you up with that.
Tell them that we haven't lived out.
Oh,
And that's what we're doing right now, in fact.
yes.
We have, this is my cell phone here with a microphone, and we have a CART provider listening to us right now, and she is actually sitting at her home in Tempe, writing everything that we're saying and putting it up on the internet at the same time.
Which is the live stream text.
Yeah, so that's live stream text, so CART can be done remotely or with a person sitting right next to you. So there's a lot of ways to set it up.
So some other possible applications for CART services that I'm thinking of would be perhaps a college student.
Oh, college students use CART a lot. I know ASU has CART providers that work for them. U of A, college students definitely use CART in their classroom. And the great thing about it, like remote, I can be a college student with my laptop, have CART on it. I've got somebody remote. Nobody can see this person. So, because sometimes, college kids, they don't want everybody knowing, hey, I'm hard of hearing. And so that way you can have your access and nobody really sees it.
Right.
Yeah.
And is there, I'm just thinking logistically, how hard is it to get someone? There's a lot of people with hearing loss. How many CART reporters are there? Is that difficult to schedule? Is there a cost?
Yeah, if you requested it as an accommodation, like you go to a conference or you need it with an employer interview or something like that, or a doctor's office, it's not gonna cost you because you're a person with a disability, so it's free to you. If you go to ASU, you're a student, they're gonna provide that to you just like they do sign language interpreters for
Okay.
the deaf students. Now, if I needed it, like I was going to a wedding, okay, and I needed it, well, I would probably pay for that, or if it was a rich bride, I would ask her to pay for it.
The rich bride's father.
Yeah. There's something else available now. It's
Okay.
called Relay Conference Captioning, RCC. If you go to, I think it's Arizona, it's ARIZONA, RCC.gov, .com?
I think
I
.com.
think it's .com.
Okay,
That explains to you what Arizona RCC is. It's Relay Conference Captioning.
okay,
So if I'm an employee, and I am, and I'm at work, and we're gonna have a staff meeting, and they've got a telephone set up, and people are calling in, I can't understand what everybody's saying. I am hard of hearing. And so what I do 2 days in advance is I set up that telephone bridge with the Relay Conference Captioner operator. I set it up so she calls in, and she listens, and she writes everything she hears, and it displays on my laptop. And that is
simultaneously?
yes, and that is
Okay.
a free service that we provide, ACDHH, we pay for it.
Okay,
It's Monday through Friday from 8 to 6. So you can set up relay conference captioning for like staff meetings, those kinds of situations.
Good for employee environment,
Okay.
work environment, when you have a conference call. It's another services that we provide through our office mainly for hard of hearing employees. Because we have a large population with a hearing loss who are working age population.
sure.
And you talk about phones struggling, there is a solution that they don't know about.
Right, well, so I want to come back. Tell me again what this is called.
It's called relay conference captioning.
Relay conference captioning. So I'm thinking right now, I have several of my patients coming to my mind. One, for example, works for the police department.
Yes.
She's always in meetings. She's always struggling. This is something I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to tell her about this.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, because and there's no charge.
No charge to her or her employer.
Yeah, for the conference call, correct, there's no charge.
And again, if she's not really comfortable, her boss knows about her hearing loss. She really doesn't want to talk about it though.
Right.
Yeah.
This is set up, it's done, she's in this meeting, not everybody knows what's going on.
You, go ahead, explain.
They don't have to. I mean, we always encourage deaf and hard of hearing people to accept their hearing loss and
Right.
to embrace it and to express that to others. But we understand that people are on different parts of their journey.
Sure. Yes.
And so she could have like an iPad set up and have it streaming to the iPad.
Okay.
And unless somebody walked over and looked at it and went, what are all those words?
Could you have it streamed to your, I mean, I'm guessing if you could do an iPad, you could just your iPhone.
You could. You could do your phone, you could do your iPad.
So many of my patients now are wearing, the iPhone hearing aids, and so they're already using their phone
Right.
for hearing. They're already talking to their bosses about,
Right.
hey, I'm a teacher, I'm not on my phone right now playing, I'm actually adjusting for my classroom, I'm actually turning this student up. So we're already covering that. But I'm curious, again, it can just go to their iPhone, right?
Sure, she could have her iPhone sitting right there and just reading along.
What you're doing is that you will get a link
Right.
once you sign up, and that's the link you will connect to.
Okay,
Kind of like what we're doing
Yes,
right now.
yeah.
It's the same concept.
so what's the difference?
There's really no difference. It's the same service,
Okay,
you know.
Well,
We-
the difference is the conference for relay is actually for conference call.
Yeah.
This is not a conference call.
okay,
Like you're here, I'm in my
Ah,
office,
okay.
we're calling in, we're all over, and we have a meeting. I don't understand all the conversation at a
Yes.
conference call. This is where I use the captioning. That's the difference.
okay.
It's for a conference call.
So the
meeting.
relay, say it again for me.
Relay conference captioning.
Relay conference captioning is for conference calls.
Correct.
Okay. Or what about if you are on an online class where it's like a conference course where you're all talking online, but it's not typed, it's auditory. Is that the same thing?
Yes, but if it's provided by a college university, they have to provide the accommodation
They do.
Right.
Okay,
by law.
Right.
by law. Okay, perfect. And again, this is free?
Yeah.
And the availability, is it hard to?
It's easy. You go to that website, ArizonaRCC.com, and schedule your event at least 2 days in advance. So they have an operator there who is a captioner, ready to go. And it's Monday through Friday from 8 to 6, because we really designed it for employees.
For business,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, hard of hearing employees, they're in conferences, conference calls, people are calling in on the phone bridge. It's so hard for me to hear people talking
Right.
out that thing, you know.
Yes.
And
Well,
so I just
I
have
have
it.
normal hearing, and we'll do
Yeah.
staff meetings where we see each other's faces. You know, it's like a FaceTime
Yeah.
staff meeting from
Right.
3 different offices,
Right.
and it's hard to follow.
Right.
So I'm visualizing this.
Right.
Okay, and again, if we go to the commission's website, can we also find this link?
It's
Yeah.
under the ArizonaRelayService.org, azrelay.org.
So I have to go somewhere else.
Let me put it this way, I don't want to confuse everybody,
Okay.
but right now it is under Arizona Relay Service website, but it's going to be merged under ours. We're going to be working on that through the summer.
Okay.
But you can always contact our office. We'll connect, because we manage the relay service, part of our agency oversight. We oversee the relay service for the state of Arizona. So I know it's a lot of information, but we can certainly connect.
I'm just sending everybody to you.
Yeah,
I'm going to give them. I'm going to give them your cell phone number. They're just all going to call you. So before we move on, keeping in mind my patient population, I'm going to be a little selfish since I have you here.
Right.
Any other services that you provide that you think would be helpful for my, and we'll talk about legislation and changing things like that, but any other services you think I should know about?
Well, I think one of the most important things is me as the hard of hearing specialist, and I am hard of hearing. I understand what it's like to have hearing loss, to be wearing hearing aids, to go to the theater, to go see a movie, to struggle on the phone. So I get it. And so people will email me often because, when we have hearing loss, we like email. They'll email me and I will walk them through wherever it is. They will present and they will say, here's where I am in my life. I just got my first hearing aids. I'll walk them through what that process is like. Or they might say, I've got hearing aids, I have an FM system, I know about movie theaters, but I still feel kind of isolated. So I will walk them through. Okay, well, here's what you could do, or here's where you could connect. I will give them that support and make those connections for them.
Okay.
Well, the other thing, maybe for a person with a hearing loss as well, and Dr. Jessee, that we work together, is that we always encourage people with a hearing loss to work with their audiologist or hearing aid dispenser, work with a professional, because the last time we will encourage them to go to a store, we will not recommend them to go to buy a hearing device, whatever, from
Best Buy.
No, yeah, Best Buy or anything like that. We do not recommend that.
No.
And so we because there are a lot of factors involved with hearing loss. People think, well, I can't hear. Well, there could be other reasons. So we're a partner. Our office, we're partner with audiologists and hearing aid dispensers because we believe that that's the best avenue, first place to go when you're not sure about your hearing loss. Hearing loss, go that direction first before you go.
Right.
Don't think about the dollar amount.
Right. Well, and honestly, some of these places charge more than I do.
Right.
So, and I'm lucky because most of my practice, our two main referral sources are physicians, and then thankfully we have fabulous patients who will send patients to us. And so I don't know many physicians who would refer outside of certain specialties. They're pretty good with that. So I always tell people, if you're getting hearing aids for the first time, I would never buy hearing aids based on a newspaper ad. It's like going to Target and getting a pacemaker.
Right.
Your hearing is too important. To me,
Right.
if you can't hear, you cannot participate.
Right.
And if you cannot participate, you fail to thrive.
Right.
So, I'm obviously very biased, but I have a lot of evidence to support that bias.
Right.
So I always say, either find someone who loves their hearing aids, talk to your physician and get a referral, and then you start there, and then hopefully I'm surrounding myself with people and wonderful resources for my patients, which is really what we all have the same goal, which is to provide better hearing and to provide resources for the people who struggle. So, that's what we would like to do. We actually only have a few minutes left. I told you it goes really fast.
Wow.
It goes really fast. So again, Sherri, a few things you probably want to talk about before we're out of time. So I'm just going to say talk about whatever you want because we have more stuff, but we have like 3 minutes.
Okay, well, I think we talked about it's really important, the hearing aid program, the telephone program. I think that's one of the most important parts that people need to know about, so I'm glad we covered that.
Good.
But the other part that we're advocating on policy is the over-the-counter hearing aid.
Yes.
This is the big national hot topic
Right.
through Congress, and our office, our board officially took a position last week. We are opposed.
Yay, I
Over
saw
the
that.